Well, I guess we'll be that level of live.
Well, no, but now it's filming it in portrait mode instead of
Yeah, I know.
landscape, so.
What I ran into before. Wait, what's that do?
Well, that swap is
That's
in the
gonna-
front. Okay.
Oh well, that's fine.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess we just turn it in. Could we stand at
So long to even catch her. About 5 months now. The second, our new supervisor met her, and our mascot passed away. He was like, let's bring her up here and see how she does with everybody up here. And she had to do it. Getting into the shelter. Passport.
Yeah, it's right out of Lego.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Westside University. I'm awake, almost. Welcome to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Linda Phippen. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am privileged to be the worship associate this morning. It's wonderful to see you here outdoors on this glorious fall morning for our annual Blessing of the Animals service. Whether you've been coming to Westside for a few Sundays or a few months or a few decades, we're glad you're here. We're also happy to welcome those of you who are joining us on YouTube, whether it's this morning or some morning in the future. Westside is a welcoming place for people regardless of their beliefs, their non-beliefs, their spiritual paths or identities. This morning, we're also welcoming our fellow creatures, whether they be furry or feathered, finny or scaly, even slippery or slimy, regardless of their number of appendages. So usually this first Sunday of the month is our potluck luncheon, but because of this special outdoor service, the potluck will be next Sunday, October 12th. As many of you know, Craig Brandt and Yetta Jager will be moving to North Carolina later this month. So we will also be saying goodbye and acknowledging the many contributions that Craig and Yetta have made to Westside over the years. So that will be a potluck celebration, and we welcome you to bring food. There will be cake and things like that too. If you check your order of service, you will find announcements about happenings at Westside and other good information. If you're streaming on YouTube, announcements will have been up on the screen. Announcements are also available in our website and also in our newsletter. I do have one announcement, a couple of announcements that are not in the order of service. The Justice and Generosity Committee is getting together next Sunday from 9:30 to 10:30 to fabricate mosaic-covered stones for the labyrinth that the Green Sanctuary Committee is constructing on our grounds. And so Reverend Carol will also be leading a guided meditation during the last half of that activity. I understand that there's some work going on the playground later today, so if you are inclined to be work-oriented and grab a hammer and help out, you could do that too. And now Chris Edkins is going to sound our singing bowl to bring us into the service. Diane Gray is going to light our chalice for us this morning. We don't have our usual 2 community candles out this morning, but we do want to bring to mind what we usually do with the 2 candles. One, to acknowledge all of the bad stuff and suffering that goes on in the world that sometimes seems overwhelming, but also to remember that good things are going on as well, and that can alleviate some suffering, and we should acknowledge people who are helping with that and move to help with that ourselves. For the chalice lighting reading, I will share 2 quotes from St. Francis of Assisi. Not to hurt our humble brethren is our first duty. Stop there is not enough. We have a higher mission, to be of service to them wherever they may need it. And also, if you have men who will exclude any of God's creatures from the shelter of compassion and pity, you will have men who will deal likewise with their fellow men. And now, turn over to Lori Allian.
Good morning. So we're not, you may have noticed, not doing any singing today, and I will say that makes me kind of sad because I love to sing, but we thought it might be easier for people to be able to pay attention to their animals than hold hymnals. So my name is Lori. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I was asked to lead this service, I think, because everybody knows I am an animal lover. Anybody who is Facebook friends with me really knows. But thank you all for coming and for the beautiful animals you've brought. I really wanted to bring one of my dogs. I have 3 cats and 2 dogs. And I usually bring my dogs to these services, but because I thought I might need to actually pay attention to something other than them, I did not. But I'm going to talk about one anyway. So I'm going to talk about Sophie. She is my heart. I found her in January of 2014. She was a little less than a year old. She was in an empty lot beside the road, and I pulled over and got out of my car, and she ran right to me. I opened my back door, and she jumped right in the car. And within the 5 minutes it took me to get home, I knew that she was going to be mine, and that her name was Sophie. And I did look for her people. I always do when I find a fair number of stray animals, and I always look, and I've often found people, but did not find hers, which I knew I wouldn't, because I knew she was meant to be mine. She has been my proof that I did something right in another life. She is my good karma. She was a delight from the start, but she was quite a handful when she was young. And there was actually a point where I even thought I was going to have to find someone to take her, because I broke my wrist not too long after I found her, and I just didn't know if I could handle her. She's part border collie, mostly border collie, and just a ball of energy. Even now at 12 and a half years old, a ball of energy. But over the years, she has matured and calmed down, and we have developed an understanding and a relationship that just gets me emotional. I have had animals all my life. I've had rabbits and snakes and fish and birds and quite a few cats. And for most of my life, I was considered a cat person. Even once I started having dogs and loving dogs, I still thought of myself as a cat person, but now I am a Sophie person. She is, I think, just the most amazing animal that ever lived. And y'all might have some different opinions on that, I realize, but I am constantly amazed by her adorable and hilarious mannerisms, and her intelligence, and her ability to read my mind and communicate with me without words, and her profound lovingness. And obviously I could talk about her all day, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on just one aspect of her. I am an occupational therapy assistant in a nursing home. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I started bringing Sophie with me when I was working on weekends and I didn't have too many people to see. The first time she came with me, she went right up to someone in a wheelchair, sat down next to them, just waited for pets. She was never afraid of the noises or the equipment or the long hauls. She was at home there the minute she walked in. Residents love seeing her, and they ask about her when she's not there. Staff members get down on the floor with her and cuddle as soon as she walks up. And she loves to go. When we go for a walk in the mornings, if I tell her at the end of the walk, we're going to go to work in a little while, and then it can be a couple hours later, but when I go out to the car, she comes running down to the gate as soon as she hears me, and she does not do that any other time. So usually when we get there, we walk around a little bit, visit with whoever we run into, and then I work with people, and she just, charms them. And I've always known that she was just a born therapy dog, but I never got around to getting her certified as one until recently. And a few months ago, we started the process to be certified with HABIT, which is the Human-Animal Bond in Tennessee. It was a fairly simple process, and it culminated with a monitored visit to the nursing home, monitored by a HABIT volunteer. And we did that last weekend, so she is now official. And because it was a monitored visit, we did it at more like a regular therapy dog visit, not my usual working visit. And it was really eye-opening. We went into a lot of rooms we don't usually go into, and I was really moved by how people responded to her. We usually see the people who are out and about, and I hadn't really thought about it before, but they're not the people who need her the most. The people who need her the most are the people who don't get out as much and don't have as much contact. And they were so happy to see her. They thanked me over and over for bringing her. And they talked about, their childhood animals and the animals they had to give up when they moved into the nursing home. And it really brought home for me how important animals are to humans. I encountered a couple of quotes recently, and I'm sure somewhere someone knows who them, but they were both unattributed when I found them, that are kind of, that speak to that. One was, the world is a better place with animals. They remind us of the power of unconditional love. And the other is, animals have a unique ability to heal the human spirit and bring joy to our lives. And I used to volunteer at STAR, which is the Shangri-La Therapeutic Academy of Riding, and it was the same kind of thing. You know, it's horses, the participants take part in grooming the animals and riding them and feeding them and just really getting to have a lot of contact with them. And people in that context, it's mostly people with disabilities, or they have veterans with PTSD. And the way they respond to the horses is very different than the way they respond to people, which, of course, because the way the animals respond to them is different than the way people respond to them. So that's what I want us to focus on today. That is the blessing, is the gifts that we receive from our animals and what we can learn from them, and the gifts that we can give back to them. Unconditional love and uncomplicated joy. So now we're going to meet the animals y'all brought. I'll come around with the microphone, maybe.
They'll need to come up to the microphone. They'll have to come up to the microphone.
Okay, y'all have to come up here. Bring an animal, and you can introduce whoever you've brought, or if you want to just come up and talk about one of your animals, you can come up and talk about them and tell us what's special about them. And I see someone already walking a dog, so do you want to bring her up? No, you can come up.
Well, we don't have to be first, but well, this is 4. He's a chocolate schnauzer. It's fairly rare. He's a dog. He was owned by a breeder in Monroe County somewhere, and abusing him, the breeder, and somebody who transports a lot of the dogs up north, and he could get him for us. Breeder surrendered him, but he could hardly walk. He was 16 months old, and he was kept in cage almost the whole time. And schnauzers are rare, and I think they were trying to make some money on breeding a chocolate schnauzer. Usually a schnauzer is more of a pepper color, and he is mustard, so I know his father was was black, his mother was a liver color. That's all I know about him. Blessing for me, because I'd always had schnauzers, and we didn't have any dog for several years, and I kept bugging my husband. And one crazy Sunday morning, he said to me, "I bet if I died, you'd have a dog." And I said, "I'd have a dog in 5 days, guaranteed." I said, "No, I bet if I died, you'd have a dog." And he said, I would, because I'd be so lonely." And I said, "Then what the heck are we doing without a dog?" 5 days later, he found Cooper. 7 months later, he died unexpectedly. So Cooper was meant to be. He's my buddy. He's the first thing I talk to in the morning and the last thing I talk to at night. And that's...
Thank you. He's a beautiful baby. Anybody else? I see you all down. Oh, there we go.
Okay, if this goes out, y'all tell me, okay? Okay, so this is Cadence. She is actually not ours. She is borrowed from the Oak Ridge Animal Shelter where my husband works. She is the shelter mascot. She had how many litters?
Probably about 3 or 4.
At least 3 or 4 litters, and she came in with one of her litters. So she was a neglect case, and they tried very hard to get her back to safety, and they succeeded. Now she lives up front at the animal shelter and gets to be kind of like their little ambassador. She is really nervous today, but getting to see everybody has been making her happy too. In addition to all of the animals that I consider part of our family at the shelter, we have currently 6 cats. And last year we lost 2 cats and our dog. So we are very much an animal family, and I could talk probably all day about each and every one of them and what they've taught us. But today, Cadence is our lesson to show love to everybody, and she'll show love back. So let's go, Cadence.
Thank you. And thank you for working at the shelter, Brian. Uh-oh, there's a lot.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
That's Pee Wee. We're gonna go get it.
She's afraid of either the speaker or the tripod, yeah. Which is one of those things like when we did the part of the habit certification process with Sophie was she had to walk past a walker in a wheelchair, and I was like, he's got that down. But she always did. But there are dogs who are very freaked out by those unusual things for them. Anybody else want to come up, either with an animal or to talk about an animal?
Well, Laura, you and I are two of a kind because I love all animals, especially dogs. I've had 14 over my adult life, and currently have about a 20-pound dog, a rescue dog, and she follows my husband and I. Is that better? Okay. If we go from upstairs to downstairs, she's right behind us. If we go outside to inside, she's there. We've even taken her to Canada, and she travels so well in the car, she just lays around in the back seat when we stop for gas. We refuel. She takes a break. I don't know. It must be my tone of voice. She takes a potty break and goes back to sleep until we get to the next stop. So she's great. I do want to tell a cute little story. When we had a big fenced-in yard, at one time we had 3 dogs. We went to pick up our daughter at high school, and just like in Lori's case, this little dog was there hovering around. When we opened up the back door for my daughter to get in, the dog hopped in. So I took her home, and my husband says, "Oh, really? Now we have 3 dogs already. You know?" And I says, don't worry. I'm going to find a home for her." So I had a friend who said that her mother was looking for a little dog, and her mother was busy working on a quilt. So she said, as soon as she gets done with the quilt, you can bring the dog over. Well, the quilt took a little longer than a few weeks, and by that time I was in love with little Lucy, and so we had 4 dogs for a time. We're down to 1 now, only because it's easier at our age to take care of one. But if you don't have a dog in your life and you love a dog, get one, because they are unconditional love, coming and going. You leave the house for 15 minutes, you come back home, they act like you've been gone for 3 days. And I just love them.
I'm going to try it without bringing her, huh?
That is Pee Wee. Clearly, he will never be a habit dog. Ever. We got him from my father, and long story short, he had several procedures and surgeries, and so he is a survivor. Like, he is still loving and kind and enjoys life despite what you all saw. He acts like none of the 3 procedures that he had impacted him at all, and so that is a tribute to his tenacity. He brings a lot of humor to our life and a little frustration. We are a family of animals. We have 2 dogs, 2 mini donkeys, 2 horses,
And 7 chickens?
We clearly were not bringing all of them at all. But he's probably our most unique little guy. But we have learned a lot from him.
We call him Pee Wee for a reason. He peed everywhere when we first got him.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Hi, this is Wade. He's very sweet. He's 11, and we just lost our older dog a couple weeks ago. We were heartbroken. He was delighted. He's just absolutely thrilled to be the only dog. So he's kind of a jerk, but he's very sweet, and we love him very much. He's nervous, so I'm going to let him sit down.
Thank you.
So before Suzanne and I got together, we had 7 cats, and the youngest was always at the bottom of the totem pole. And then when I moved in with Suzanne, she will tell the rest of the story.
Okay, so I guess you'd say Cass was my stepcat. And she had had a rough life. She was picked on by the other cats, and by the time I knew David, they were down to 2. She was just sad. She was also not real good at a litter box, and she was just kind of, oh dear. But she's a really pretty little cat, and so I thought, okay, this is how old would she have been?
19 or 20.
She was a really old kitty, and I was gonna train her, but it was fine. I just put clean litter boxes around. She never misused anything. Speaking about loving being the only animal, Cass was made to be an only kitty, and she was just, she died 2 years ago in the fall. Spent the last day on my lap. Anyway, yeah. That's enough.
It was simply nice that when she got with Suzanne, they just saw each other and knew that they were supposed to be together.
Anybody else want to come share? I was wondering.
Hello. Oh, okay. I'm Mary Frances, and I've got 2 Basset Hounds, and they are simply ungovernable, so they're not here. So if you, they're probably at home right now being couch manatees, is what they call them. But if you take them out in public, it's a whole other story. Last year or 2 years ago, I brought them in. They knocked me over in the camp chair, and I was like, okay, maybe not. So my husband grew up watching Smokey and the Bandit, and wanted a Basset Hound. He used to be a professional driver, and he wanted a Basset Hound buddy like Fred. If you guys watched Smokey and the Bandit, So we got our Basset Hound right before we got married. His name's Cash, and turns out Cash gets motion sick. So the dream of having a Basset Hound buddy did not work out. But shortly, actually, at that same time when we got Cash, like my husband was no longer able to work. He stays at home now due to some issues, and it's very good that he has a best friend. That is his best friend. And then, if you don't know, I've got 3 boys, a husband, and a male dog. And I said, we got to even this up a little bit. And so we have Penny, and she is a biological sister to Cash. And I was like, oh, we're just going to get Cash part 2. But anyone who has a sibling knows that they are frequently not like each other. And Penny is as sassy as a little Basset Hound can be, and I adore her. And so these dogs are great. They're blessings in my life. One of my sons kind of struggles understanding interpersonal relationships, and just the other day, Penny just lay down next to him, and she just put her head on him. And I said, she loves you. And I pet her. She wants you to pet her, and he did, and that gave me joy. And dogs are definitely a blessing. I was in Minnesota a couple weeks ago, and the Minneapolis airport has a therapy dog that anyone can pet. And I was up there, and I was not very patient with an 8-year-old girl who was petting the dog. I was like, don't be a dog hog. But then I went and I just took a quick turn, and I told the lady who was handling the dog, I was like, I get to go see my dog in a few hours. And she's like, that's the right way to think about going home. And so animals are a blessing. I'm a lifelong animal lover, and I love seeing everyone's animals. And if your dogs like pittance, I'd love to give them some.
Anybody else?
So I didn't bring my dog, Magpie. She is wonderful with people, but somewhat unreliable with other dogs. Plus I had stuff to do up here. I couldn't mind her. So I would say that Magpie is a security dog. Not like you think of a security dog as a Doberman or a German Shepherd. She's actually from the shelter who said she was part Chihuahua and part Papillon. But she's about twice that big and has terrier attitude. But I say she's a security dog because if you need a fence inspected for gaps, she is the expert. She has to be constantly under control, or she will be off to the far winds and hunting whatever she can find. Although the last time what she found was she slipped a leash and got under the fence and took off. I walked in to get her favorite to treat to see if I could possibly find her and lure her back. I looked out my window, and 2 houses down, the neighbor has a water feature. It's a fairly deep water feature with edges that overhang, and she had gotten into that and apparently could not get out. So fortunately, I saw her and trooped down to the neighbor's house and dragged her out of the water feature, getting us both of us completely covered with the muck out of the bottom of the water feature. She had a talking to when I got home. But she's otherwise a very good little dog, and she's my first dog. I was always a cat person. I had cats for 30 years, always had a cat. I also always had asthma, and when I no longer had a cat, my asthma went away, so I got a dog, so I'm not allergic to them. So it's been a learning experience for me having a dog too. So, but she also guards me if I'm sitting anywhere. She's like facing the door with her butt towards me, always looking out for me, and she has the loudest bark for a dog her size you ever heard. So, anyway.
Well, that provokes me to want to share one story about Sophie. When I first got her, I had other dogs, and they were a little bigger than her, and I had a fence, but it had fairly big holes in it. Way too small for them, but she, of course, could get out. So I didn't think she could, but then I saw her slip through. So I put chicken wire around that, and then thought I had her in. And I would come home from work every day, and there would be toys in the front yard. She's always in the backyard where it was fenced, and I thought, no, did I leave those out there? Finally, one day I came home, and the fence goes into the carport, and there's like a ledge about yay high. And my other dogs were not jumpers. But I drove up the driveway one day, and she came flying through the yard, leapt up onto the ledge, and over into the backyard. So she'd been spending all day roaming the... So, more fence. Anyway. Anybody else want to come up?
Well, I am a lifelong animal lover who, at this point in my life, does not have an animal at home. I have a lot of them in my heart, but it's just not a good thing right now in our lives to have an animal, a pet. But it occurs to me that when we get together to celebrate animals, which is just such a wonderful thing to do, particularly on this day, it's also, I think, really appropriate to celebrate the life of Jane Goodall, who gave so much of her life to animals, but also to helping us as humans understand animals and understand our relationship with animals and the rest of the world around us.
Thank you for that. Yes. Okay, I did want to thank everybody for anybody who brought donations. There's a bin over there of dog food. Donations will go to the Four Paws Food Pantry in Loudon, which Michelle is, where is Michelle? Back there. If you have any questions, you can ask Michelle about them. It's an organization that helps keep animals in their homes for people who can't afford the food but don't want to give them up to the shelter. So it's a great cause, and thank you all for any donations.
All right, that segues nicely into what I had to say about justice and generosity. So at Westside, all we do here depends on the generosity of our members and our friends to keep the staff paid and to meet the costs of maintaining our building and grounds, and to do other things that bring strength to our community, to our congregation, and to the people around us. So you can donate to Westside by putting, I don't know, do we have the boxes out? Oh, well, all right. Ordinarily, we have a box out here where you can leave a check, but if you would like to, the boxes are inside. Jerry's going to bring the boxes out. There are two of them. One is for Westside itself, where you can put a check or cash in that, or there's a QR code that you could scan and donate that way. And there's also another box that is for our Justice and Generosity partner. We have a new partner every quarter. We are starting the new quarter, and our partner this quarter is Mobile Meals. So you can financially support Mobile Meals by putting a check or cash or QR code donation in using that box, or on the website, or on YouTube. And aside from financially donating to them, I believe there's going to be possibilities for volunteer contribution. We used to just give with our partners. We used to just collect money, and we'd give a portion of our plate collection and that sort of thing to our partners. But for the last couple of years, we've been making a really serious attempt to develop an ongoing relationship with our partners so that we can contribute to them over the year, in the ongoing years, in financial and other ways. And I think that's all I have.
Lori, there are some sign-up sheets for the fall retreat. I'll bring them out there on clipboards.
Okay. So, okay, this fall retreat is coming up. I think it's the 26th, end of 24th, 25th, 26th. Okay. There are sign-up sheets that we will have for people if you have not already signed up. I don't know what the status of the cabins is, but we'll find out.
Some of you already know, you may remember, but we're going to have a little work day on the playground here this afternoon. So if you weren't planning on it, but could maybe go home, change clothes, and come back, bring some tools, we'd love to have you. It might be like Keystone Cops. I'm not sure who's going to do what to what, but we'll figure something out. So if you can.
I have a question other people may have too. Will the collection for cat and dog food continue after this week? Some of us may have done what I did, which was gather a bunch of stuff and then leave it in the garage.
I would be happy to take it. Thank you very much. I'll get it to the pantry.
I'm sorry? The answer is yes. Okay, how long will that continue to a yes?
Why don't we say until the end of the month?
End of the month.
Okay. So till the end of the month, you can bring in food or whatever and leave it somewhere for Michelle and she will take it. All right, so anyone who knows me for long knows that I can never resist an opportunity to quote Mary Oliver. So this is my chance for today, our benediction. This poem is called Little Dog's Rhapsody in the Night. He puts his cheek against mine and makes small, expressive sounds. And when I'm awake, or awake enough, he turns upside down, his forepaws in the air and his eyes dark and fervent. Tell me you love me, he says. Tell me again. Could there be a sweeter arrangement? Over and over, he gets to ask. I get to tell. So as we leave today, I hope that we can each find that open-hearted, honest ability to give and receive love with animal and people. Thank y'all.
We're bringing coffee and cookies out. Hang around. Give us a second.
We also have some water and dog tea. REATS is over here. Say the word, whatever you
That's a great name. Looks like a little bear cub.
I'm on fall breaks. I'm really good. I don't know. God, I'm kind of behind on my schoolwork, so that has to get done first. That has to get done first, and then I can enjoy it. But,